The world is full of black people and white people in the middle trying to make it right, people. Everybody just getting by. Broken wings trying to learn to fly.
So this week we'll be speaking about abuse and how men and women deal with abuse in relationships. We want to speak about physical abuse and emotional abuse and mental abuse. And I essentially just want you to share any kind of experiences that you've had in your own life or anything that you've encountered which essentially sheds light on the importance of understanding this type of issue between the man and woman dynamic or in the man and woman dynamic. In my own experience, I grew up in a very big Jamaican family, many aunts, many uncles. People were always around me. So you get to see the different ways in which men and women interact. And most oftentimes than not, these interactions were very toxic at times. And you see it becoming toxic, and I've understood why it became toxic. It is because the man and the woman in the relationship weren't essentially on the same level. And either they weren't financially stable, or they weren't compatible, or they had kids when they were not supposed to. And these different factors gave rise to different types of abuse. And the type of abuse that I encountered in my own family experience was a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, where the women degraded the men, their sense of worth, their ability to provide for the family, and the men abused the women physically as well as verbally and emotionally. And that affected me. And I'm sure it has affected a whole lot of Caribbean women and Caribbean boys and girls. So in your own life, have you had experiences with abuse?
To an extent, yes. Firstly, I want to share with you this statement you probably heard before, that hurt people hurt people.
Yes.
Listening to you, you said that the women would abuse the men
Yes.
verbally, and I guess in turn, the men retaliate by abusing them physically.
Mm-hmm.
In my personal experience, I've never experienced physical abuse in a relationship.
That's good.
I've never had that kind of encounter whereby my woman is hitting me, or vice versa, where I'm hitting a woman. I've never encountered that in my relationship, but I've seen it so many times, I've heard about it so many times that I can still speak about it. It's one of the easier identifiable type of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You can always see it. A black eyes can hide, hard to miss.
Mm-hmm.
Women, men, if you're in that type of abuse, it's not okay.
Get out.
You need to get out.
It's always bad.
Chances are it will never get better.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are it will never stop.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, it's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
If your man is hitting you because your mouth is too saucy, or you give back chat, or you didn't do what he tells you to do or what you're supposed to, that is not a right for him to physically hit you.
Mm-hmm. Vice
Vice versa. Men, if your woman is upset with you for whatever reason, you come home late, you have a side piece,
And I have no time.
that is no reason for her to physically hit you.
Mm-hmm.
She can cry or even leave the relationship if she so chooses, but it's not okay for her to hit you. So, on either spectrum, man hitting woman, woman hitting man, it's still physical abuse. It's not acceptable. It's not right. It should not be tolerated at any point in time. Yes, you may say, well, he got home drunk this time, or he was really, really upset and he just kind of swing his hand. I'm not going to tell you first incident, pack up and leave. Depending on the context, depending on the personality, depending on the scenario, you would best be able to know what's happening. And you are a better judge of that character than the outside person. You can make a judgment call. All right? But chances are, if it is a continuous abusive relationship where physical abuse is more or less the norm, or it happened more than it ought to, which should not happen at all. So if it is happening or has happened multiple times, you really need to take a step back, take a look at it, and look to leave.
I think that is important that you point that out, Maurice, because we as women who are unfortunately the victims of physical abuse most oftentimes than not than men. And you may agree or disagree, or people, our listeners may agree or disagree with men.
Yes, that's debatable, as in who get hit most. It's no clear cut. Either party can decide to be the physical person hitting or hitting first. Either way, it is still wrong. I'm not sure of the statistics. So when Machela say it is more oftentimes the woman who's being physically abused, I've not seen that data to support that argument.
Yes.
So I will leave that one as is. But as I said before, either way it is, whether it's the man to the woman, woman to the man, doesn't matter. It is not acceptable.
Abuse is abuse.
Physical
and it
abuse
should
is
not happen.
physical abuse. It
Yeah.
should not happen.
It
It
has
should not
actually been proven though, Maurice, by several university studies. One of them, Maryland I always mess it up. Maryland University. They have a sex therapist. I forgot her name. She deals with relationship and gives advice to men and women in relationships. And one of the things that she has found is that one of the breakers in the relationship is of course abuse, and the main perpetrator of abuse, physical abuse, is the man. Unfortunately, you know why this is? Men are bigger, men are stronger, and usually the outlet for a man's anger is to first hit rather than to walk away and talk about it. So I think this is why it has been proven that.
And that is so sad. I mean, as a man, we all have emotions, feelings, and they get hurt from time to time. And we want to express our frustration or anger. So some men tend to punch a wall or throw things or break things or hit the person. That means you are weak mentally. It means that you have built up frustration and you can't express yourself. If my woman offends me or gets me upset, I'm supposed to be intelligent enough to articulate my feelings. Babes, we said to me, did to me. It really hurt me. I'm hurt by it. And you're getting me to feel a way that I don't want to feel, and I need for you to stop. Some men can't simply say that. So they would just, hey, we're vexing up. This is way to chop. And they would say that for like 20 minutes. And you will never know what exactly they're trying to say. Like, what's the issue? What's bothering you?
And it just manifests itself in something physical.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I think men, women too, should learn to use their words to explain themselves and to say exactly what they want to say without using physical.
We just need scissors.
Why
Scissors? Make you sit down and watch Paw Patrol and stop giving trouble. What's wrong with you?
Because
To do all everything.
I want some snack.
Do you know how to open the snack out?
Yeah, I know hard.
Look at you sweating. Go for the snap.
Be quiet, guys. My boy just said. So I think it is important what you pointed out, that women and men too, they stay in a relationship because they feel that they know this person. And they feel that, okay, if he hit me this one time, or she boxed me across the face one time, or she pull a knife on me one time, that's just mistake.
Pull a knife and that's a mistake?
I don't know, maybe.
No, man, you're what with a cartel video.
Hit me one time. And then they say, okay, this is forgivable because I know who the person is, and not the pull the knife situation, that drastic, Maurice, I know it is drastic. She boxed me across the face, or he drape me up and shake me a little bit. Then,
set yourself.
Easier.
Yeah.
It's forgivable, but then these things build up. If he feels that he has the permission per se to slap you, then he will feel that he has the permission to shake you. Then he will feel that he has the permission to choke you. Then he will feel like he has the permission to draw the knife. Because the more you allow, I think it escalates more and more. And that is usually the situation that you see. I'll share the story to prove my point. When I taught in Japan, I taught in a high school. And they have the custom, as do many cultures across the world, to marry their young girls very early. And she was leaving high school at fifth form level. She was 16 years old. She was going to be married. She was with her boyfriend.
At age 15?
16.
She's 16? How old is the
Same year, their peers and their
both of them get married at 16?
Yeah, this happens a lot. Very often, Maurice. Very often cultural practice. Even in our own community right here, Syrian community. One of my students this year actually went to Syria to find her intended. She's 16 too. It's still happening right now. Anyways, the point of the story is that they were going to get married. She came to school one day, and me and my coworker, who is also Jamaican, saw that she had a questionable look on her eye. She had a black eye. And so, because we were the foreigners, and their community is very close, Japanese community, they don't speak and they don't ask, because they don't want to offend. But because we were the foreigners, we pulled her aside at the end of the school day, and we were like, Yui, I don't remember her name, I'm just saying Yui, what happened? How are you? And because we know that she was in this relationship, because they're the great couple. You know, we always have this couple.
Both in the same school?
Yeah, same school.
Okay.
I'm like, what's up? And she told us that the guy had hit her. This is a young boy.
16.
16 had hit her. And we're like, no, this is bad. This is one of the markers of abuse. He will now feel that it is okay to not hit her the next time, but to shake her. He will feel that no, it's probably okay to hold her neck. He will feel that it's not for box her around a couple times a week because it's fine, because she has given the permission, because she's young, she's impressionable. Her parents probably didn't teach her well enough to be strong and oppose this kind of treatment. But the point is that women and men who stay in these situations and give the okay and say, I know the person, it was a mistake this time, next time it's going to be a mistake, the other time it's going to be a mistake, until they kill you. Like what happened to the Jamaican lady the other day. Not Jamaican, the Antigua lady, the Jamaican man who chopped her up.
Yes. He
had been abusing her. She had reported it to the police, and the police they came forward, but she didn't make much of the situation.
Exactly. She withdrew the charges.
Exactly.
Afterward. I think several times.
It escalates.
That's an unfortunate story to hear that 16-year-olds are starting
it's
like
common, Maurice.
If you start, I would say to that young lady, if you're starting at that age, new in the relationships, from what I understand, never gets much better. So if you start at say 98%, it's going to gradually decrease until it plateaus, let's say at 40%. Right? You'll never see relationship getting better over the years. You will never be more in love with the person at the end of the relationship than at the beginning. So the person starts hitting you from day one. Trust me, he's going to continue in day 10,
day 100, day 1000,
whatever.
Worse.
Right, because he feels as though, okay, I did it before, you didn't go anywhere, so why should I stop?
Exactly, so that's
so
my point.
Physical abuse is, as I said, it's easy to identify because the markers are there. It should be the easiest to get away from.
Exactly.
I'm hoping that young lady went home, her parents saw it, and they intervened. I would hate to think that my 16-year-old daughter comes home with a black eye and asks her where she got it. She says her boyfriend that she should be marrying next year did it. I'm not walking my daughter down that aisle.
Exactly.
I'm canceling everything right here.
That's you.
As a matter of fact, I'm taking her and hitting back.
It's you.
I grew up with Jamaican parents. I'm going over his house. I'm pulling him out. And I'm telling her to hit him back. In front of the parents too. I don't care who.
I'm not condoning violence. You should not limb up anyone, but you should definitely show your stance that you do not condone violence.
I'm telling my daughter to hit him back, and I'm watching to make sure he hit him back properly too. And I'm letting him know that, dude, stay away from my child. Like, this is not acceptable. I mean, you may get upset, you may swear or use foul language or stuff like that. We'll get to emotional abuse later on. But physical abuse, I can't see how you take up your fist and punch a woman in the face, kick her repeatedly, throw her across the room, give her a black eye, broken ribs, and then late in the evening,
want to make love to her.
You're asking her,
cook your dinner. want her to take care of
I'm not eating nothing from you, Machela.
Yeah.
If I beat you up this morning, I'm not coming home for dinner. I'm buying. Why? They're brave.
They're mad.
I am buying KFC and pizza for the whole week, probably the month. I didn't want to make a cup of tea. You know, because I'm fearful that they put some red poison or something, because I don't know. And for you to come down as a woman to have sexual intercourse with you, and she can't see from her left eye properly.
It's a part of the power dynamic though. It is a part of the fact that once the perpetrator has committed this type of violence against the victim, they feel now emboldened and they now have the control over the other. They have defeated them. They have put harm or inflicted harm on their physical, and they now feel powerful in that situation. And that is why it is so dangerous, because not only does it become physical, but it becomes a power play. And that adds to the ego. And once your ego is inflated,
sad. If I need to beat up my woman to build up my ego, I don't have much ego to begin with then.
Yeah.
I can't see the connection.
Talk about our mutual friend, Maurice. We're not going to call her name. You know who we're talking about? The one with the Syrian boyfriend and the child. You know who I'm talking about? They were in a situation. She was in a situation where her baby father, her partner, was continually abusive. A little man is a little scrawny man.
Yeah, I think she's
a
bigger.
chopped-in girl. What is the power, Maurice?
Yeah, I think if she make up her mind to,
she could overpower him.
She could even. Hey,
she could.
I think this is actually further than that now. Look at slavery. You ever see
those
big strapping man inside the plantation cutting cane with the cutlass in the hand, and some little scrawny white man beating with the whip?
Yeah. So now she has been whipped. Those women have been whipped.
Okay, it's
that
sad.
man has been whipped.
I think that is why Bob Marley said it best. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
And it's not
none but yourself can free. Yeah. Unless you become mentally free to recognize who you are, what you are, and your worth, your value, you will always be subjected to abuse and stay there because you think,
I'm not more, I don't work
enough. Yes. And so, women out there, if you're listening, men too, if you're in a relationship and this person is continually hitting you, we're speaking specifically to physical abuse. He's continually, it's not a one-off thing. I'm not saying he came home drunk one night and he swung his hand or whatever.
Not forgivable.
Right, that's still not an excuse. But if this guy is doing this every Friday night religiously, for the simplest of reason, any reason, that's a sign for you to leave that relationship. That relationship is not good for you. It will not get better.
And that brings us to the next aspect of our discussion. And you talked about it. The mental hold that the perpetrator has on the victim in this relationship. It becomes that kind of, I'm not thinking of the word right now. But it becomes a situation where they're shackled in place and they feel that they're not worthy enough. And it moves past the physical. It goes into the realm of the mental and emotional abuse. And a lot of times, if women are not physically abused, or if it started out with the physical abuse, the men will go into the mental abuse and it traps them. Because the physical, I think, is linked towards mental abuse. Because just as you said, if you as a woman, as a man, don't feel like you are worth enough to get out of the situation, then it's beyond just the physical, it's now mental. And they have some kind of grasp or hold of you. And there are markers of identifying this too. If a person continually demeans your character, your personhood, if they don't uplift you, if there's no progression in the relationship in terms of growth, each party growing in the relationship, and one party feels that they're above you and shows you that they're above you in terms of they might be a degree holder or they might have that certification and you fall and you can only work in a shop or you are only good for having the children. People do this.
I know, but
that's
again,
the emotional and mental abuse.
Yes,
that
those are
signs.
Let me tell you, I don't think one human is smarter than another human,
Never.
nor another human is dumber than another human.
Mm.
Not because I have a degree or several degrees means that I'm smart in all aspects. Okay? Yes, I have lots of financial qualifications. So I may be able to speak about financial decision making more pronounced than the average person. But if I'm in a relationship with someone who does not have a degree, she may be able to see things from a more layman term, from a more emotional perspective that I may not see because I'm seeing everything in dollars and cents. That's just how I am wired. That's how I was designed. Doesn't mean I'm smarter than the person. Maybe I can balance the books, but she can cook better than me.
And she can balance the home.
She can balance the
personal
home.
life.
She can balance her personal life. I'm just so book oriented. That's all I can do. Book, 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 book. But I can't do nothing else. I bring nothing else to the table. That whenever I'm outside of that atmosphere, I feel like a fish out of water.
But think about this though, Maurice. Think about situations where you have a richer man. Let's put it there because I think it's more obvious there. You have a richer man and the girl pretty, named trophy wife. In a lot of these cases, if you actually think about that, think about the movies, because the movies portray it well.
Yes.
The man, because he has the degree, he has the power, he has the position, he usually lords this over the woman. All you have is your pretty. All you have is your looks. You are nothing better than that. So keep in your lane, stay where you are, sit on the shelf, don't move. These are your parameters. That's where you belong. A lot of men use this over women, and that's a type of abuse too.
And most of them might end up getting knuckle. Seriously. Like, even in the movies, these wives cheat like crazy on them.
Not if she's controlled emotionally.
Okay, then. That's another topic. But I hear you. I've seen those movies. I've seen those examples. And you're correct. It is sad. Not because I don't think all you have is your beauty. The human mind is so enhanced. We are literally a hybrid computer. Seriously. Like, our intelligence or intellect is so vast, we can't fully comprehend it. And unless you tap into it, you will never reach your full potential. But don't let anybody degrade you because they have a degree and you don't. There's something called educated dunce.
And there's something called street smart.
Street
you
smarts.
You may have your street smarts, while
Exactly.
educated dunce doesn't have it.
It's unfortunate that those things happen. Again, ladies, men, if you're in that kind of relationship, I'd advise you to seek help and possibly get out. That one I'm a little bit more smallly tolerable because sometimes the abuser, emotional abuse, doesn't even recognize that he's emotionally abusing the person. So probably therapy can let him see himself, him or herself, and she can maybe willing to change. So with those kind of relationship, I'm a little bit more tolerable in trying to work it out if it can be worked out, and if the person is willing to see their flaw and also willing to change. But at the end of the day, don't let nobody, I don't care your socioeconomic or educational background, whether you're from Grace Farm or Marble Hill, Spanish Town or New Kingston, it does not matter. You have a brain, 2 eyes, 2 ears, a mouth, and you are capable of learning, developing yourself. And sometimes not everybody is academically inclined.
Exactly.
You have some brilliant mechanics, some brilliant contractors, architectural workers, computer scientists, and of course, you have brilliant economists, brilliant accountants. It's just that we're all blessed with different gifts and talents. You just need to find yours. You have some person who didn't finish school, but they can do here, and that's just their talent. So,
but not to say that when people who emotionally abuse the other in a relationship are the educated ones. I've seen situations where the man, because of his ability to make more money, even if he's not more educated, his ability to make more money, he will hold that over the woman in the house, and he will use that as a tool to control her. The fact that he's making more money and she's not making as much money, or she's not making money at all, she's just a housewife, and he will come home and he will curse and he will degrade and he will hold her to such a standard that sometimes she can't reach it. And I have seen that in my own family experience. these men are not educated, they don't have a degree, but they're the ones making the money. So they come and they have the power in the relationship and they use that as a sort of control and abuse. I've seen that too. So it's not only in situations where you are more quote unquote book smart, but just that you feel that the same power dynamic that comes out of the relationship, the man, a physical abuse relationship, the man feels that he is the man and he has the power and you are the woman and you don't have the power. And that leads to depression too, Maurice.
I can see how it leads to depression. And I said, it is sad. If you're with somebody that in a relationship, you love that person, you care for that person, you should be trying to develop that person, not break them down. You should try to uplift that person, not degrade them. You know, you should try to stimulate them mentally, education-wise, business-wise, in all aspects, to let that person grow and develop and be a better human being because you are there. You should not be putting them down and tearing them down. And it is sad. Again, I have known a situation where the emotional abuser wasn't aware that they were abusive. Okay? So in that situation, I would advise that you speak up, because by you speaking up, the man may say, what? There are some stay babes? Even record him. Probably he's going on a rant one particular day. Use your phone and just record him. And then when he's calmed down and stuff, just play it back and say, this is how you sound when you go on a rant. These are the things you say.
That's true.
And I feel really bad when I hear these things from you. And that may be the wake-up call he needs. You know?
Or she.
Women
can be very, very emotionally abusive to their kids too.
Oh. I grew up with Jamaican parents, and let me tell
you know what I'm talking about.
The words, the choice of words, the names.
And unfortunately, Jamaican women look to emasculate our men. We do. I
don't know. I can't think of a name somebody can call me now as an adult
that
I would feel depressed about. Because I've been called so many names by my mother, my father, my family, that I literally have a mental block.
Serious. Oh gosh.
Right.
It's serious.
So it means I've been abused as a child. I tell mommy this.
Toxic child.
Yeah, they say, mommy, you've been abusing me. So the box said, yeah, tell me what is
Exactly. And that's how we deal with it.
Yeah.
And that's what we bring into our relationships.
Some of the times we actually bring our upbringing into our relationship and I realize that because we thought that was a norm.
Yes.
Because when your mother abused you emotionally, and you're going to tell auntie, before you can even tell her, you hear her abusing your cousin the same way. So you say, okay, in the matter sense, I tell her this part because it's happening next door as well. So emotional abuse is a bit harder to spot, but if the person talks to you in the meaning manner, if the person belittles you or degrades you, and you feel like less of a person afterwards, that is emotional abuse, and it should not be tolerated or excused or swept under the rug in a relationship. All right? If it's happening to you, speak up, speak out, get help or get out.
Great. And on that point, we will close for this week. It has been a pleasure having you, Mr. Foster.
Hey, done already?
Yeah.
All right. It was good to be here to speak on these topics. As I said, I've never been personally involved in some of them. The physical abuse, but emotional abuse. And thinking about it now, I realize I've been dealing that since childhood.
Oh, we have.
So, it's nice to share with you, but if anybody's listening out there and you're in a relationship and it's not going how it ought to be going, you know your worth. Don't settle for less. Perhaps somebody out there is waiting for you, willing to love you how you ought to be loved, and you need to get out of that relationship so you can find where you truly belong. All right? So stay safe, be blessed, and I wish you all the best. We'll speak again.
All right. And that's a wonderful note to end on. Know your worth. Every hole have them stick a bush. You're probably in the wrong situation right now and you're unaware of it. Never take no chat or no lick from nobody. See you next week.
People and gay people in the middle trying to find a way, people. Everybody just getting by. And we're all just a little bit broke.